So, Jacob, you did question Governor Pritzker yesterday. What's the latest there? You heard from him. And tell us, what is the situation actually like right now in Chicago?
Just to Joe's point, Jonathan, about 14 people outside the ICE facility in Portland. I was outside the Broadview facility here, which has really been a flashpoint. And there were less protesters, and they were in costumes. One was dressed as the Grim Reaper, another was dressed in the jail stripes. But it was largely peaceful, and I don't mean to make light of it because it has been a flashpoint. There was a lawsuit filed by journalists about journalists who have been targeted and shot with pepper balls and other less lethal munitions by the federal agents who are here on the ground. And what Governor Pritzker largely laid out is that he believes all of this militarization that's on the streets right now of Chicago, the people in the tactical gear that you're looking at, that's Greg Bavino on the left-hand side of your screen, the guy that ran the operation in L.A., and now he's out here in Chicago. They were marching up and down Michigan Avenue in masks and in fatigues and with weapons, and they were in the Chicago River behind me with the Air and Marine operations boats that I've seen many times along the Rio Grande.
Jacob, wait, I'm sorry. Help me out here. Why were they marching up and down Michigan Avenue? I mean, a great shopping district, make no mistake of it.
No, it's great.
But you go up and down the right time of year, and it's a wonderful time of year. Very comfortable. It's very good. You can get a lot of things. Get some lattes, hang out.
You can even bring it in the store.
But why is the National Guard masked marching up and down Michigan Avenue?
They were not going to the Apple store, Joe. I can tell you that. It was a show of force. It was a show of force, and that's what Greg Bavino said.
Over what? Like Halloween shoppers, pre-Halloween? Like a show of force over whom is, and I'm dead serious here, over whom? For what? What purpose? Other than maybe to provoke?
I think that that is the central point here, is that there is no purpose of marching up and down Michigan Avenue. It's the same thing that they did, Joe, in L.A., in MacArthur Park, in that big park that's central to the city, where they show up. They have a massive operation with the National Guard protecting the perimeter. And they didn't arrest a single person, but they did make a very slick video for the Department of Homeland Security and post it online. And they've already done that here, too. In essence, a lot of this is to make content. It's not to arrest people. And they do these big operations in the middle of the night, like the operation on the South Shore of Chicago, where they show up in their tactical gear. They pull people out. They put kids in zip ties. American citizens were detained. And a lot of those people were then released. What is the point of it? They don't have a good answer, other than to say to go after the worst of the worst. But we all know that that's not what's happening. I do want to play a little bit of what Governor Pritzker said to me yesterday, because I did go to the press conference and I asked him. He said he was going to use every tool at his disposal to keep these guys out of here. And I asked him what exactly that meant. Here's a little bit of what he said to me.
Beyond legal challenges, what does that pushback against the potential invocation of the Insurrection Act look like? Would you order the state police to arrest or detain federal officials or stand in the way of federal law enforcement?
We follow the law in Illinois. We follow the law. Unlike Donald Trump, we follow the law. We have made sure that, again, under state law, that we've provided funding for programs so that people know their rights, so they can protect themselves. That's first and foremost. We've made sure that we've pleaded with the public to take action by using their phones to videotape anything and everything that they see. We want to make sure that that's recorded. It's why we were able to even show some video here today. And again, beyond going to court, we have encouraged people to shop at small businesses, to help out your neighbors. We provided support for those children who've been traumatized and for their families by those attacks. But it is the courts, in the end, that are going to have to rule on whether or not Donald Trump has the ability to call up National Guard from another state.
And I would say at some point, we've said this yesterday, at some point the Supreme Court is going to have to stop knocking these cases down to lower courts and stop being ambiguous about what the president has the power to do and not do. So, Jacob, I want to go back to, we were sort of talking tongue-in-cheek about them marching up and down Michigan Avenue, a very exclusive shopping district in Chicago, and just say it does remind me of Washington, D.C. There are parts of Washington, D.C. that are very dangerous. They just are. And by the way, Ask residents of Washington, D.C. who live in those areas, and they will say, we want more law enforcement officers. But time and time again in Washington, we saw the National Guard outside the Apple store, outside other stores, in DuPont Circle, picking up trash, not going to the affected areas. In Chicago, I mean, gangland killings, just, Labor Day weekend, over 55 people shot, I think 13, 14 killed. Every weekend, people seem to be getting killed, getting shot. But these National Guard troops aren't going there, are they?
No, and that's what Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, is emphasizing. He says, we'll take federal grants for community-based policing so we can surge resources to those areas. But it's really important to understand the National Guard, or the Marines in the case of LA, are not trained in community-based policing. That's not how they deal with people and are meant to deal with people. First of all, they're not meant to deal with people, period, on the streets of these cities.
It's not their job.
Unless it's a... That's exactly right. And so the mayor is saying, you want to help us with our law enforcement strategy. The federal government has plenty of resources to do that, but that's not where these troops are ending up. Certainly not where they were ending up in Los Angeles either. And so they're going to send them here to stand outside of ICE facilities face to face with protesters in costumes, and they're marching Border Patrol agents around. By the way, Governor Pritzker made a great point to Rachel last night. The Border Patrol has the authority to operate within 100 miles of the border. We're well beyond that in Chicago, but they're saying that that Lake Michigan is the border of the United States with Canada, and that's the authority under which these tactical Border Patrol agents, who again are trained in community-based policing to be in and around civilians here in Chicago. That's the justification they're using to put them here. They're not going to these neighborhoods that you're talking about, guys, and that I think a lot of people would welcome the help of law enforcement, local law enforcement, especially on the ground in a city like this.
Yeah. MSNBC senior political and national correspondent Jacob Soboroff, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob.
A costume tomorrow. Thank you.